Carl Paulson is a golf analyst on PGA Tour Live. He also works for ESPN Plus, SiriusXM, PGA Tour Radio. He is basically everywhere. He's a multiple-time winner amongst the professional ranks. Those many years ago, he was a Korn Ferry Tour Player of the Year as well. 342 tour starts at that. 28 top tens along the way. He will be the analyst this week of the marquee group coverage of the Genesis on PGA Tour Live. Again, that can be found on ESPN Plus. And he's the host of Inside the Ropes with Dennis Paulson, weekdays on SiriusXM. I believe it starts at 10 a.m., but I will confirm that with the man. Carl Paulson, how are you doing? Did your team win?
Fantastic. I didn't have a dog in the fight. It was a great game, though, and we got to enjoy it with some friends, so it was exciting.
Did you hear our question about whether today should be like the hangover holiday or something? It doesn't make sense that it's like the biggest event, a sporting event in the United States all year. So many Americans are engaged. I think people love a holiday anyway because it's a holiday. But does it make sense to say make this like a whole weekend event and make it a holiday that's tagged to it?
I kind of like the Saturday idea. I think they should move Halloween to the first Saturday after it falls, after the 31st, have the Saturday before for the adults to act like children and go out and have a good time. Saturday after for the kids, and why not play this game on Saturday night? I don't get it, but at least it started early enough for us to get home and get in bed at a decent hour.
Well, the event that we saw this week, it's funny the way you phrase that, for the adults to act like children. Some of them were acting like children at the WM
yes, they were.
Phoenix Open. I guess my question to you is it too much?
I think it's gotten a little bit out of hand, but you know that going in. You know, you look at what happened with Billy Horschel, you look at what happened with Zach Johnson and them losing their minds a little bit on the fans that were, acting foolish or childish or whatever you might want to say. I think it's gotten a little bit out of hand. However, you know what it's going to be like when you sign up for that tournament. If you don't like it, don't go.
All right, so I want to talk to you about the guy that did what he needed to do in Taylor, because Nick's performance to finish was so impressive. And it goes to, I don't know if you caught the show earlier where Don was talking about kind of the wonder of sport, that here in the golf that preceded immediately at the Super Bowl, we saw this great playoff. It went actually into the Super Bowl. And then at the Super Bowl itself, we see it go into overtime. Nick Taylor, 72-foot putt plus to win the RBC Canadian Open, his home country. First time a Canadian won it in 69 years when he accomplished that feat. He's a 4-time winner on the PGA Tour. First of all, just your thoughts in general about Nick.
Well, I was watching the game with Sean Foley last night and some other friends, and obviously Sean, being a fellow Canadian, was pulling hard for Nick, and so we kind of all started, a little bit kind of pulling for Nick. But Sean was telling me that this guy's a lot better than he gets credit for. He hits a flat driver in the mid 170s, ball speed, sneaky long, and one of the best wedge players on tour. You go look at it.
Looks like we lost Carl there for a second. Here's where I'm going with the President's Cup too. Following question. International team right now. Tom Kim, second. Jason Day. Third, Nick Taylor. Fourth, Sungjae Im. Fifth, Emiliano Grillo. Sixth, Ryan Fox. I'm going to give you the top 6 of Team USA. You give me your thoughts. 1, Scotty Scheffler. 2, Wyndham Clark. 3, Chris Kirk. 4, Colin Morikawa. 5, Sahith Theegala. 6, Eric Cole. You want me to keep going? I'll keep going. 7th, Max Homa. 8, Xander Schauffele. 9, Patrick Cantlay. 10, Sam Burns. 11, Jordan Spieth. And 12, Keegan Bradley. I have to go back to the international side and give you, remember, 6 qualified, 6 captains picks on both teams. 7, Minwoo Lee. 8, Benny On. 9, Siwoo Kim. 10, Corey Connors. 11 is Adam Scott. 12 is Cam Davis. I'm giving you those just in the order. I realize, again, to reiterate that 6 are going to be captains' picks. If you look at those two sides in recent performances on either side, I find it incredibly difficult to find an advantage one way or the other. I know Carl's back with us. Do you see an advantage one way or the other right now between looking at President's Cup with current form if this were to lock down today?
I'm not sure if I would give them an edge just because of how the team was decimated by players that were going to live, but I certainly think that it's getting closer and closer. Of course, we've seen some lopsided victories in this event, and it would be nice, I think, for the President's Cup if we could get a couple of really, really close matches, maybe even have the internationals win. But I like what you were talking about. I think we've got a Canadian captain in an event that's going to be played in Canada and some very good up-and-coming Canadian players. I think that team's going to be loaded with Canadians, and the Canadians are as about a proud country as you'll find. And let me tell you something about their how crazy they are about golf. They're nuts, absolutely nuts. They only get to play about 5 months a year up there, and they love golf maybe more than any country I've ever seen.
Carl, I had to ask you about this because everybody's excited. Andrew put up the tweet from Tiger that he confirmed, of course, that he will be a playing host this week at Riviera. From your perspective, as a guy that played the fillet of your career when Tiger was absolutely flying at his highest descent, what is it like for you to know Tiger's back out there again?
Well, it's great for the game of golf. All of the things that he has to go through to play in these events, to prep for the round and to work on his body after the round, just so we can see him play golf 5 or 6 times a year is incredible. Look, Hero was really the first time we saw him play 4 days where he didn't lose a ton of stamina. His golf didn't, although it wasn't great at the Hero, the scoring wise, it didn't get worse throughout the week. It actually got a little bit better at the end of the week in the way he was striking the ball. So I'm hoping that we can see him play 5 or 6 times a year and be able to make it through those 4 days and be healthy when he gets off the golf course. Of course, he's never going to be one of those guys that walks off the golf course and feels great because of all the stuff that his body has been through. But to see him out in LA playing at Genesis is massive for our game.
I know that you have sources all over the place, Carl. I'm curious what you're hearing on the inside. Is Tiger's presence at these events more than just a ceremonial appearance? Is he capable of competing?
Well, as you mentioned earlier when we were coming back from break, that I played most of my career during Tiger's heyday. And from what I've seen throughout the years and from what I've witnessed in 2019 with him coming back and, of course, winning the Masters after winning the Tour Championship, I'm not going to put anything out of the realm of possibilities of happening with Tiger. I think it will have to be a perfect storm, though, if he wins. The weather's going to have to be good, body's going to have to be feeling good, and he's going to have to play a certain type of golf course, in my opinion, to give him an opportunity to win. Augusta, you think all of that experience that he has at Augusta over everybody else is just such a tough walk. So I'm not sure where that golf course would be, but I certainly think we're going to see him get in contention a couple more times before it's all said and done.
It's an interesting point to actually bring up where, Tiger's going to pick places to play. Now, granted, he's the host this week where he has had great success, but that's not the case at where he is this week. I mean, he's got great history at Riviera, but I'm curious about how you think that matches up and go to your earlier comment about, the venue has to be right for him. Walking has to be right for him. How does it suit the Tiger that we know today?
You're talking about Riviera for the Genesis? Yeah. Not great. It's not an easy walk. Once you get down off of the platform, we're 18 green and 1 TR, obviously it's not that bad, but the grass is kind of squishy and it's not a great fit. He doesn't have a great track record at Riviera, but it's his tournament that raises a ton of money for his foundation, and the fact that he's going to get to tee it up and play. We're going to see where his game is, and we're going to go through this every time he plays, right? He's going to play this week and probably not play again until the Masters. And we'll have the same discussion then as we're having now. Where's his game? How rusty is he going to be? It's just going to be like that moving forward with Tiger. But again, more important, I think. Now, listen, in his mind, is this a ceremonial golf tournament that he's playing in? Heck no. He is a guy that seriously thinks he can win every time he tees it up, and that absolutely baffles me. I'd love to get into his mind for just 2 or 3 minutes and kind of feel what that feels like to have that confidence. But is he going to contend this week? Probably not. But having him there at the tournament playing as a host is massive, not only for the tournament and his foundation, but the whole game.
Did you believe back in the day when you were at the height of your own prowess that you could beat Tiger Woods, or were there things that he was capable of doing that you looked at and said, I just can't do that?
Well, he definitely had some shots that I don't have due to strength and height. I'm 5'9". He's a little bit over 6 feet tall, and hitting out of the rough is a heck of a lot easier if you're a little bit taller. But, when we are on our A game, we don't think anybody can beat us. And,
right.
If everybody brought their A game, of course, Tiger's probably got the most bullets, right? He's got the biggest gun, so to speak. But it doesn't, Wai Yang didn't say, oh, Tiger's going to beat me. There's guys that have gone toe-to-toe with him and given them their best shot, and Tiger normally comes out on top. But golfers are a weird bunch. We have this weird confidence and hope even when things aren't going well, and I think that's what's so special about the athletes.
Do you, for 2 questions. First of all, what time are you on the air today, just to confirm, on PGA Tour Radio on SiriusXM?
We're 10 to 12, Monday through Friday.
All right, 10 to 12 with Dennis Paulson. How's DP doing?
He's doing great. He's relocated. He's a Texas boy now, so he's up in San Antonio, and they're absolutely loving it.
Very cool.
And he's a granddaddy now.
Oh, good. Congratulations, DP.
Yeah.
To your coverage this week on PGA Tour Live, where coming in, it was noted that you are marquee group coverage. Do you already know who you'll be covering this week by any chance?
Not yet. We should get that email later today.
Okay. So when the tour returns to a venue like Riviera, or any experience that you have even at Riviera, how excited do you get as a player to return to a classic venue?
Well, the first time I played Riviera, I just was walking up those steps after finishing the 18th hole and thinking to myself, oh my gosh, think about the people that have walked up these steps where my feet are hitting exactly where their feet were hitting. And all of the old players from the 50s and 60s and Hogan and all of that. So it really is a special place when you find a golf tournament or a venue that's been around as long as Riviera has. Now, of course, the tournament's changed names throughout the years, but it's still LA and it's still Riviera, and it's a golf course that stood the test of time. I get real excited. I mean, this is one of my favorite golf courses. I had a awful track record here, and I still showed up every year to play in it because the golf course is it's that good.
Very cool. While we have your company, I do want to ask you about the recent SSG Strategic Sports Group investment in the PGA Tour. What are you hearing amongst your brethren, especially veteran brethren from PGA Tour ranks?
Yeah, this is one of those things that just kind of has baffled me. I'm trying to find out how we're going to get from point A to point B here, right? Everybody wants to get from point A to point B into all of this divisiveness and get the best players back out on the golf course together more times than we're seeing right now. I just don't see it. I don't understand how they're going to get from point A to point B. I'm not even close to being smart enough to be allowed in that room. But one thing I will say, if you're going to hitch your product to a wagon, this is a pretty darn good wagon to hitch it to. Look, these guys have made money their whole lives. They know it. They know how to make money. They know how to make a return on their money. And for them to have the confidence to put the $3 billion investment into the PGA Tour, knowing and thinking that they're going to make more than that back, that's a good sign. I just don't know exactly how this whole thing is going to break down.
Again, I'm taking advantage of the last couple of minutes we have here with you, Carl. We were talking a lot about Riviera. We're talking a lot about Tiger this week hosting the Genesis Open. It happens to also be a signature event. So if we're going down the road of kind of a macro view of where the world of golf is right now, what is your view on these signature events?
Don't mind the signature events. I just wish they were 120 person fields and cut to 60, giving more playing opportunities. Look, if they had these tournaments set up the way they were last year, Kurt Kitayama would not have won the Arnold Palmer Invitational because he wouldn't have been in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And I think that's really important that we give more opportunities for guys. Let's say guys between 40 and 80 consistently on the FedEx Cup list, an opportunity to win these tournaments. And I just wish, because the sport was set up as pure capitalism, go out, play well, win a bunch of FedEx Cup points, win a bunch of money at the end of the week, win a bunch of money at the end of the year, start making a legacy for yourself. I just feel like they should be 120 person fields and cut to 60 and then let the tournament just rock and roll from there. I don't. Nick Dunlap turned pro, won Amex, unbelievable story. Turns pro, plays in a signature event and finishes in last place and gets FedEx Cup points for that. I don't think that's right. If you don't beat anybody, you shouldn't get FedEx Cup points. So just a few minor changes. Now, I will say I wanted to wait until a full year went by before I made a lasting decision on this. And I think the tour has done an unbelievable job with their schedule and the way that they're doing the next 10 and the Ion next 10 and the Aon Swing 5. I think those are fantastic ideas to boost the fields in some of the other tournaments that aren't signature events. And we've seen great fields so far in all of those events that aren't signature events. So I think they've done a great job, and let's wait and see how this 2024 plays out. But maybe there'll be a few adjustments at the end of the year.
Carl Paulson, a veteran campaigner with club in hand, now an important voice in the world of golf. You can hear him from 10 a.m. Eastern time this morning on SiriusXM PGA Tour Radio, and from Thursday, coverage on PGA Tour Live. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Take it easy, Matty. Thanks for having me.